second upload for the 3rd of April is with regard to the concern I have for victims of crime and victims of violations. We're all aware of victim support groups in society. We're all aware of the various supports and agencies in society to assist those that are experiencing violations and victimisation. The topics that I'm going to discuss in this second upload are regarding the safeguards for individuals in society that are being violated and victimised. As I've mentioned in previous uploads, there have been concerns regarding inviolability of dwellings and violations of privacy. Also, with regard to the information and the attainment of information, ethically or unethically, of a victim is another concern. There are various supports available to victims of crime in society and victims of hate crime in society. These kind of services that are informed of by advocates and support groups inform victims of their entitlements and rights as a victim, such as courtroom assistance, court care assistance, and safety in society, protection orders, etc., etc. What is of concern is how there are individuals perpetrating offences against victims and victims not receiving the safety and support that they are legally entitled to. All citizens are entitled to live safely in society with their rights respected and safeguarded by the relevant agencies. Those perpetrating offences and perpetrating legal violations and targeting individuals in society, either at a distance or in close proximity, without the victim being safeguarded, and while the culprits are perpetrating dangerous offences and perpetrating very serious defamation and very serious violations without the victim in society being properly cared for, safeguarded or respected, is a huge concern in 2020. The culprits perpetrating identity theft, financial theft, property theft, etc., etc., and perpetrating very serious defamatory issues leads me to be very concerned about how victims are actually prioritised and safeguarded. It also leads me to be very concerned about the sanity of society and the concern of mental health of those perpetrating these offences shamelessly and without any consideration of consequences. So these uploads today are quite difficult. These are difficult circumstances, and these individuals that have been so reckless and shameless and careless in their defamation and their violations leaves a lot to be desired for future generations and the outcomes and consequences thereof. So these issues that I'm relating to with regards to how victims are to be safeguarded either in legal terms or physical terms, and the particular issue of the provision of information and information being withheld, and the vulnerability or the attempt to impose vulnerability on a fully capable and honest law-abiding citizen by less than scrupulous individuals that have perpetrated very serious offences and wrongdoings is a very worrying issue in modern society. Guilty culprits um, perpetrating these offences to be in any close proximity or to have any engagement or to have any concept of having any position in directing or discussing or dictating or deliberating the outcomes of their wrongdoings is not justice. For any culprit of assault to be facilitated and for any offences not to be rectified or confronted is very serious for all victims of crime and hate crime. The legal system is there for a reason, and when that legal system refuses to correct wrongdoings and decides to prioritize and facilitate those damaging innocent people's lives and defaming and stealing and thieving, then that legal system has automatically failed. The officials of any such circumstances that fail to safeguard the rights of victims in society while prioritizing culprits of defamation, financial theft, property theft, assault of any sort, physical assault, etc., is the main concern of this upload. The legal system is there, as I said, for a reason, and victims that have reported offences and have not received their rights being respected does not say much for society. Any officials that are fully aware, consciously aware, and cognizant of damages and wrongdoings done to an innocent citizen and consciously choose to ignore the wrongdoings and offences and facilitates even further wrongdoings just highlights how insane society actually is. As I've mentioned, there have been many tactics in vendettas of hate crime and human rights violations. The obstruction of justice is the huge issue of most human rights violation cases and scenarios. Those obstructing justice and those facilitating the obstruction of justice have no conscience of the consequences. So those violating privacy, damaging professional and reputational characters, and basically assaulting a person due to their own ill-serving agendas are disrespecting all pillars of society. And the particular issue that the justice system, the legal system, the judiciary are obligated to confront is the rights of the victim. All citizens have their rights. Those that are being victimized and violated are exceptional issues and concerns to be respected. Victims that experience circumstances such as I've experienced, to be able to get up in the morning and to put on a smile and survive another day of other people's disrespect and disgraceful behaviour is not easy. So those people sick enough mentally to think that they're achieving anything by desecrating human rights have a very serious reality check to confront. So basically, this is an upload for the concern of judicial system officials and victim support groups to acknowledge when wrongdoings and offences are perpetrated and ignored, and when culprits, guilty, extremely guilty of the most serious and saneless offences against women's rights and children's rights, etc., when they're giving breathing space to perpetrate even worse offences, then I hope that the justice system is aware of how serious the circumstances caused in society. So when they decide to turn a blind eye, and when they decide to exploit a situation and exploit suffering and perpetrate even further violations and wrongdoings, I hope they understand the consequence of those actions and wrongdoings, and the consequences and the insanity of those wrongdoings being exacerbated without proper safeguards for victims of crime. So this upload is just a brief issue of concern for all victims in society that are being violated and defamed and that are experiencing exploitation, financial abuse, and obstructions of justice in society. And I hope that the officials and the agencies that are to respect and safeguard the rights and civil liberties of all citizens understand how serious it is when turning a blind eye is chosen as the easy option.